Hi, my name is Patricia. I'm 32 years old, a spirited and independent woman. Let me take you on the roller coaster ride that is my marriage to Austin. It's quite the saga, so buckle up. Austin and I, like any couple, have had our share of highs and lows. I love him deeply, but there has always been a shadow over our relationship. His mother, Martha, no matter how hard I tried, nothing I did seemed to satisfy her. At family gatherings, she'd critique my cooking as if she were a Michelin star chef, nitpicking everything from the flavor to the presentation. It didn't stop there. Martha had a way of belittling my accomplishments too. When I shared the exciting news of a promotion at work during a dinner party, she dismissed it with a casual remark about her friends' children achieving far greater things. Even our wedding day wasn't spared. She whispered her disapproval to anyone who'd listen, casting a shadow over what should have been one of the happiest days of my life. You'd think Austin would defend me, but he seemed blind to her behavior. His silence cut deeper than Martha's words. I wished he'd stand up for me, for us. His father, Raymond, would occasionally call out Martha's actions, but I needed Austin to do it. Each time he remained passive. It felt like a small, sharp cut, a painful reminder that I wasn't his priority. Over time, my frustration grew. It wasn't just about Martha's critiques. It was about Austin's inability, or unwillingness, to stand by my side. The tension reached a boiling point when Austin announced a sudden business trip to Florida, just days after returning from another one. Another trip? Really, Austin? I asked, bewildered. It's an important meeting. It can't wait, he replied, brushing off my concerns. Why Florida? And why now? Can't someone else handle it? His vague explanations only fueled my suspicions, but I didn't press the issue further. Instead, I tried to convince myself it was just business, though doubt lingered in my mind. As the trip progressed, things felt increasingly off. Austin insisted on audio calls instead of FaceTime, blaming poor hotel Wi-Fi. Babe, don't worry, he said, but his reassurances didn't sit right. Once, during a call, I heard a woman's voice in the background. When I asked about it, he brushed it off, claiming it was just hotel staff. The trust that anchored our relationship began to crack. Conversations grew shorter, and his excuses felt more implausible. By the fourth day, I couldn't ignore the gnawing feeling that something was wrong. I attempted to FaceTime him again, desperate for clarity. This time, when the call connected, it wasn't Austin who appeared on the screen, it was Martha. She was lounging in a beach chair, wearing sunglasses, looking utterly relaxed. Martha, what are you doing there? Where's Austin? I asked, my voice trembling with shock. With a smug smile, she replied, Oh, Patricia, dear, you didn't really think he was on a business trip, did you? Honestly, he didn't need to hide this from you, but I suppose it shows how pushy you can be. Her words hit me like a slap. Austin had lied to me, and there was his mother, basking in the sun, as if her betrayal was nothing. So, you're telling me you both planned a secret vacation without me? I demanded, anger bubbling up inside. Well, yes, she admitted nonchalantly, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. I pressed for answers, needing to understand. I wanted to visit my hometown, and I wanted to do it with my son. Is that really so wrong? Martha responded as though it were the most natural thing in the world, completely dismissing my feelings. Her nonchalant attitude toward their deceit was beyond frustrating. It felt like a betrayal. Why did you feel the need to keep this a secret? Why leave me out? I asked, my voice heavy with confusion and hurt. Martha answered calmly, This trip was meant just for me and my son. It's our special time together. I couldn't hide my dismay. But I'm his wife. Shouldn't I be included? This could have been an opportunity for us to work through things. And honestly, I could have used a break, too. Her response was blunt, almost indifferent. Well, you didn't get a vacation. Sorry about that, but that's just how it is. Her dismissive tone stung, but I tried to keep my composure, setting aside your attitude for a moment. I just want to make it clear, even if you planned this trip without me, I could have handled it if you'd been honest from the start. The secrecy isn't necessary. Martha, however, didn't hold back. We kept it a secret because we didn't want you to know. It wasn't about whether you'd mind or not. We just didn't want you to be a part of it. Your constant calls, though, made us tell you the truth. I was stunned. Are you serious? Martha, what has happened to you? She rolled her eyes, her tone dismissive. Oh, stop overreacting. You're blowing this out of proportion, as usual. I fought back the rising frustration. I'm not being dramatic. After all these years of dealing with your difficult attitude, I have every right to feel upset. Martha tried to downplay the situation. Oh, Patricia dear, sometimes it's better not to know everything your husband does. It was just a small getaway, a special moment for us, you wouldn't understand. Her words stung like a slap. Betrayal, anger, and sadness hit me all at once. They had planned this intentionally, keeping me completely in the dark. The weight of their secrecy made me question what else they might have hidden from me. How often had these secret trips taken place? Why had they gone to such lengths to exclude me? As the trust one had in Austin began to crack, I was interrupted by his voice, tense and strained. Mom, why did you pick up the phone? What's going on? Martha's voice was firm. It's time Patricia knew the truth. It's been 5 days. Austin quickly snatched the phone from her, his face draining of color as he realized how deeply his lies had entangled him. He looked at the screen, knowing he was caught. Why did you lie about the business trip, Austin? The Wi-Fi was working fine the past few days, wasn't it? I demanded, my anger and confusion building. I didn't want to upset you, he admitted sheepishly. Well, of course, I'm upset, I snapped. I thought you were avoiding me. It's odd that you want to spend time with your mom. But Austin, you've been neglecting our relationship. I felt distant from you. If you just wanted time with her, you should have been honest. Even if I'd been disappointed about not being invited, it would have been better than feeling like you were keeping secrets from me. Austin tried to justify his actions, but it was clear he hadn't thought through how this would affect me. Austin, I said, frustration rising in my chest, I wouldn't have been upset if you'd just been honest. It's not about the trip, it's about the secrecy. And honestly, when I heard women's voices in the background during your calls, I started to think you might be cheating. I exclaimed, the hurt in my voice unmistakable. What? No way, Austin shot back, clearly shocked by my accusation. Yeah, well, when you keep things from me, what am I supposed to think? I replied bitterly. I have a special bond with my mom. Sometimes we just need our space, Austin tried to explain. In Florida, of all places? You both hate Florida, and what about visiting Jess? Weren't we supposed to see her together? My questions hung in the air, unanswered, and I could feel the weight of my disappointment growing. The inconsistencies in his story were impossible to ignore. I confronted him, my voice firm. So this secret was just between you and your mom? Did your dad even know about it? Austin stuttered, I can't talk right now. Well, I hope this trip was worth it, I said, my voice unwavering, because when you come back, you might not have a wife to return to. Austin, please just wait, he pleaded, but I had no patience left. I ended the call and blocked any further attempts from him to reach me. Alone in my room, I paced back and forth, overwhelmed by a storm of confusion and anger. Why would Austin hide something so trivial? One thing I'd always believed was that small lies often pointed to bigger secrets. The idea of Austin secretly spending time with his mom was almost absurd. Part of me wished it was something as simple as an affair, something I could at least understand. His distant, secretive behavior, and his mother's meddling, however, were harder to grasp. I knew I needed advice from someone who might understand, so I decided to call my father-in-law, hoping he could shed some light on the situation. Hey, it's Patricia, I need to talk to you about something important, I said as soon as he answered. I poured out everything, the deception that was straining my marriage, the betrayal that was swirling inside me. I told him how Austin had fabricated a story about a business trip and how Martha seemed to revel in keeping me out of the loop, enjoying the control it gave her over our relationship. The weight of their deceit was suffocating. I could hear Raymond's shock and hurt in his voice. What? I had no idea about any of this. I'm so sorry, Patricia, he said, his tone serious and filled with concern. He paused for a moment before continuing. Martha told me she was going to Florida to mend things with her mother. I believed her. I corrected him, my voice firm. Austin just confessed. They weren't planning to visit Jessica at all. She doesn't even know about any supposed visit. Raymond's reaction confirmed how blindsided he was. I can't believe Martha would orchestrate something like this, he said, clearly dismayed by the web of lies his wife had spun, entangling all of us. It's one thing to disagree, but deceiving your own family? That's something else entirely. It's unforgivable. I felt the same. The deceit was too deep to simply overlook. They both need to learn a lesson, I replied, my anger fueling a new determination to set things right. Our conversation ended with plans and mutual encouragement to face what was ahead. I hung up, eagerly awaiting the outcome of Raymond's conversation with Jessica. Hours later, he called back with updates that only deepened the gravity of the situation. His voice trembled with a mix of anger and sorrow as he recounted the details. I told her everything, Patricia. Jessica was furious, absolutely devastated. She couldn't believe her daughter would go this far and deceive everyone, Raymond explained. She deserves to know the truth. Martha's been unbearable for too long, I replied, still reeling from the betrayal. Well, Jessica's ready to take matters into her own hands. She's planning to give Martha a lesson she won't soon forget. She's fed up with Martha's antics and wants to show her what true rudeness looks like, Raymond continued. Curious about the deeper issues at play, I asked, what exactly is the issue between Martha and Jessica? Raymond sighed before responding, it's quite ironic, Patricia. Martha's always claimed that her mother was rude and cruel to her. They've had a rocky relationship ever since Martha ran away, and it's been toxic, with years of being in and out of contact. But after speaking with Jessica for the past hour, I'm beginning to think that Martha might have been the problem all along. He paused, reflecting on the broader implications. It's crazy. I've been married to Martha for all these years, and yet you've uncovered more about our family secrets in this short time than I ever did. I should have been more curious. The revelations were startling, casting new light on the family dynamics and hinting at deep-seated issues that had been simmering beneath the surface. I should have been more assertive, Raymond lamented. How could you have known? I reassured him. Don't be too hard on yourself. You were just trusting your wife, being a good husband, and you've stepped up more than Austin has. That counts for something. Thanks, Patricia. I appreciate everything. I'm glad I could help, though it's unfortunate it had to come to this. Yeah, I guess so, but I'm looking forward to seeing Jessica show them her true colors, Raymond responded, a mix of anticipation and relief in his voice. The next day, the fallout from our revelations began to unfold. Austin, failing to grasp the full seriousness of the situation, called me, clearly agitated. Patricia, what did you do? He demanded. What do you mean? I replied, trying to remain calm. Don't play dumb with me. Jessica is here, and nobody else knew we were in town except you. She said she came because she heard we were here. His frustration was palpable, and I could hear a commotion in the background, likely Jessica confronting Martha. I'm glad she knows the truth. Everyone deserves to. After all your sneaking around, I shot back. How could you do this, Patricia? I could hear Martha's voice now, angry and accusatory. You ungrateful little rat. How dare you expose us like this? I couldn't help but chuckle softly, though my laughter was tinged with bitterness. Before I could respond, another voice, stern and authoritative, cut in. Don't you dare speak to that young lady like that, Raymond interjected. I've had enough of your insolence. You've been telling everyone how rude and nasty I was to you, huh? When all I did was care for you and help you out of trouble. You were such a problem child, lying about everything and being nasty to everyone, and I see that lifestyle has followed you into adulthood. The argument escalated, and I heard the sound of something breaking, likely a glass or a vase. The intensity of the shouting made me slightly fearful, but I quickly realized this was the consequence of Austin's actions. He was an adult, responsible for his choices. Over the next few days, Austin repeatedly asked for my forgiveness, claiming his grandmother was driving him crazy. Each time he called, I reminded him that this was his own doing. Meanwhile, Martha and Jessica continued their heated exchanges. I was surprised they hadn't been kicked out of the hotel where they were staying, given the chaos. As their 10-day trip neared its end, Austin revealed something even more shocking. Patricia, please, you need to talk to Jessica, he pleaded. I tried talking to Dad, but he's still upset with Mom and me. Slow down, what's going on? Weren't you two supposed to be coming back? I thought you learned your lesson, I asked, trying to keep up with the unfolding drama. Well, Jessica doesn't think, Austin started, hinting that the troubles were far from over. She intends to join us on the flight, hoping to follow us back and make sure my mother behaves like a dignified adult, rather than acting like an unruly teenager. Wow, that's quite the surprise, I replied, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Perhaps next time you'll advocate for what's right instead of participating in your mother's plots. I'll see you when you get back, I concluded, ending the call. Patricia, I'm sorry for everything. Haven't you punished us enough? Please, talk to Jessica and convince her not to come with us, Austin implored, his desperation evident. I don't think so, dear. It's not my place to stop her. She's quite formidable, I replied dismissively. How do you think that makes us feel? Austin pressed. Honestly, your feelings aren't my concern right now. You've misled me for far too long, And you never defended me when your mom mistreated me. Now you're just experiencing the consequences. Don't be upset with me. Have a safe trip, or at least as safe as it can be with those two together, I asserted firmly, before ending the call. A sense of vindication enveloped me, realizing that I had finally confronted the persistent negativity in our lives. Jessica, our unexpected champion, had initiated her form of retribution, igniting a spark of anticipation within me. Now, I looked forward to their return, eager to hear the stories Jessica would undoubtedly have, imagining her making their flight a challenge. The taste of revenge was indeed delicious,